the beginning of this whole journey, when AMC was still trading at 2 and then it went all the way up to, crazy numbers, 30, 50, 70. And then right now we're back to the 6 or maybe 8 if you include Ape, since the detachment of the 2. Now, that being said, we were expecting, or I think people, or most of us, still holding on the impression that we're still going to go back to that, whatever number. And we used to have those brackets, right? We used to have those range, those, forks or whatever you want to call them, in which people were taking some different theories, different approaches into kind of backing up exactly why, or the rationale behind why AMC can reach $1,000 per share, or maybe 10,000, or maybe 100,000, or maybe more. All right, remember those days? Okay. I think where we are heading to, this is my personal opinion, and I might be wrong. Definitely don't quote me on this, but I think we may be heading towards a space or spot where there is no more brackets, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, because that's not necessarily a bad thing. With whatever happened so far and all of the different catalysts that were supposed to happen, and none of that really acted the way we were expecting, not because they were not supposed to, or not because they didn't have the potential of pushing the share price higher. It's just that people on the other side that are controlling the short squeeze just didn't let it go. They did pretty much whatever needed to be done from their end to make sure that the short squeeze simply did not happen. All right. So based on that, until something dramatic happens in the foreseeable future to cause AMC to go significantly higher in just one shot, like from 6 to 70 and from 70 to 150, I think we might not have something like that, but we rather will have sporadic short squeezes or multiple short squeezes happening here and there. Why? Because this is something that the CEO of S3 Partners, this is the company that is actually monitoring and calculating all the data around the short squeeze and the short interest, short squeeze and everything, the alerts. When he was asked whether a darkening macroeconomic outlook provides a good reason to short stocks, look at what he answered, because it's really, very interesting. Sloan responded by invoking the idea of the Kardashians' economics. He believes that many short sellers are underestimating the risk of squeezes, claiming that events such as GameStop squeeze should no longer be viewed as one-in-a-lifetime rarities. I'm going to stop here. Let me rephrase, all right? In other words, he's saying that a bunch of short sellers, or majority of them, all right, not to say almost all of them, are pretty much betting that once they double down as they did on stocks like GameStop and AMC based on, the price action, the volume being dry, etc., they're going to win, and they're going to win forever, all right? But it's because they are underestimating the risk that they are incurring when it comes to shorting these stocks. Why? Because it's like a pressure cooker. You can just, everything can just hold the pressure that long, all right, this much. Then when the pressure is this tight, it takes anything and everything to cause the pressure to just go boom and cause an explosion. And that's precisely what I believe it's happening, always going to happen with stocks like GameStop and AMC. Why? Because they are just obliterating people that are holding the stock here with whatever tactics they are used, what we know, known to date or not known or unknown to date. But the bottom line is, by underestimating these squeezes, anything, a market happening, and causing a short squeeze across the board, or just a news report coming from the company, or maybe, something happening that nobody anticipated and expected, and then it will cause this thing to just go bananas, and then they will be totally losing everything they poured into shorting the stock. And that's when people holding like you and I will definitely win. All right, but this may not necessarily happen until we have that event. So until we have that, kind of black swan or unexpected thing to cause the mother of all short squeezes, we will have few squeezes here and there because, you can only, be profitable in a certain environment. As soon as the environment shifts, you're not profitable anymore, and that's when we'll have short squeeze here and there, short squeeze here and there, short squeeze here and there, and that's why we need to be a little bit careful about. Why am I bringing this up? Well, because if we're somebody who bought at $50 a piece, all right, expecting we'll go back to 72, when it went back to 65, you were winning, but you were expecting 72, all right, and since it's now down 90% of that amount. So if you are not dollar cost averaging all the way down because you don't have any money left, or you're kind of doubtful and fearful, or if you do pour out additional capital, you're going to also lose that. Well, you're down almost 80 or 75%. All right. Now, if you're dollar cost averaging because you still believe in the stock to do what it's supposed to do, or to have your price down at a point where when it squeezes again, boom, as soon as it reaches 25, 30, you're out, then good for you. But for those who have a high cost per share and no additional money to put in the stock, well, be on the lookout for these mini short squeezes if they happen. All right. And that's why I think it's good to have, maybe at this point, a position where maybe if you have 500 shares, let's just use 100 for this example, right? 100 shares. So 100 shares, that your core position is like maybe 75, maybe 80, maybe 50, maybe 30, whatever you want to decide. And then the remaining number of shares, it's your swing position. All right. So whenever the stock is kind of gaining on these short squeezes that are sporadic, boom, you're cashing out, and then you use the money, you gain, you wait until it comes back down, you rinse and repeat again. If we did that since June of 2021, I think we would have definitely would be pretty clear and sure that we'll have made a lot more money than just waiting for the stock to go back to whatever level. All right. So this is not for everybody. And clearly this is not for a lot of us based on where we stand financially and based on what we have with experience with the stock market and everything else. But that's just something to consider if we are to see a repeat of what we saw since pretty much last year when AMC was at the height, and since then it's been coming down. Do I believe that AMC will not ever do what it's supposed to do? Absolutely not. I'm just saying, if it's something that you want to be looking into based on this report from the S3 partners, it makes sense somehow.